Hi everyone, and welcome to our live this evening. So we're coming to the end, as I'm sure you know, of our 30-day 30 tips on Microsoft 365, and it's really nice to have you here with us this evening. So welcome to those of you who are watching live, and also welcome to those of you who are watching on the recording. Now, yesterday we went through some of the information on the wider kind of aspects of Microsoft 365. So we had a look at the different types of licensing that are available for Microsoft 365. And we had a look at what those different licensing kind of models mean, and the fact that you can mix and match potentially for some of your users. So today I'm going to have a look at a specific type of license, and that one is the Microsoft Business Premium. So Microsoft 365 Business Premium license. And I'm going to take you through the products that you get for that subscription. And I'm going to take you through 3 products in particular that come as part of that subscription, which is the reason why I think it's really worth going for that subscription. Now, if you're a business with more than a few users, there are reasons. What we're going to show you are the main reasons why we would definitely kind of recommend that you do go for this particular subscription. And we're going to just show you how this can make your life a lot easier in terms of securing and configuring your devices and also your information within Microsoft 365. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here. So just move that to one side. Okay, so let's share here. Okay, there we go. So here's Microsoft's comparison of the apps as we saw yesterday. So here are the different types of licenses that we have, and these are the 4 business licenses. So these are up to 300 users. And we saw that we had the basic model, which doesn't include any of the desktop apps, but does include kind of email, does include Teams, etc. We then saw that you can buy the apps so that you can have them on your desktop, but this subscription here, the second one, it doesn't include Teams and it doesn't include Microsoft Exchange in the background for your email. Then we saw Microsoft 365 Business Standard. So this one does come with the apps, and it does come with your email and Teams in the background also. But what we're going to talk about today is this one here. So the Microsoft Business Premium, sorry about that, Microsoft 365 Business Premium. And this comes not only with the apps, it also comes with Teams, it also comes with Exchange for your email, but it also brings a couple of additional configuration and security products that we really believe make this worth the difference. So stick with us to find out why we think that, and we'll go through that with you now. Okay, so scrolling down this page here, I'm going to bring your attention to the fact that if you look at these ticks, so these will show you what you actually get within these different subscriptions. And we're looking here on the right-hand side. So we're looking at our Microsoft Business Premium here. So you're looking down this column on the right-hand side. Okay, so we can see that we get teamwork communication, we get web and mobile versions, we get file storage and sharing. So these are all pretty basic in terms of Microsoft 365. So some of the stuff to do with Microsoft Exchange, we don't actually get in the apps for business, but we're getting all of this stuff in the Microsoft 365 Business Premium subscription. So the privacy controls, security, etc., all of that comes with Microsoft 365 Business Premium. Now, we want to come to something slightly different. So Microsoft is acting as a processor for our data. So that's right, because we should, in theory, be if we're taking in people's data, if we're managing that data, Microsoft acts as a processor on our behalf under GDPR, and we should be acting as the data controller. Okay, so that's that. And then scrolling a bit further down. So what you see now is you start to see these ticks become white here. So they show that we only have some of the aspects underneath this heading that are available on these. But again, all of these aspects are available in Business Premium. So let's take a quick look at what some of those might be. So for example, Microsoft Teams, you don't get in the apps for business. And then Microsoft Bookings. So here you can see we're starting to get apps just in the Microsoft 365 Business Standard and Premium that are not available in the apps by themselves or in the Business Basic. So Microsoft Bookings, so that's great. But what I really wanted to show you was this side down here. So if we come further down, you can see now we're into the realm of just a tick in Business Premium. So we don't have that in the Business Standard or the other products for that matter. So Microsoft Defender for Office 365, and this is now part of Microsoft Business Premium. So that's a security product that really guards you against things like ransomware, advanced malware attempts, and 0 day. What does this mean? Well, it will adapt to new threats coming out, because when new threats come out, it's not necessarily that, you know, kind of your traditional kind of antivirus in the past, for example, would have had to wait for a definition to understand that this thing was a virus. Well, now, you know, Microsoft Defender is clever. These 0 day exploits are things that need to be guarded against, because as soon as they're out in the wild, these antiviruses need to understand a pattern so that they can pick that up, basically. And then if you're running a business, you know, devices are everywhere these days with data on them. So you've got a laptop, you've got a mobile phone, you've got all of these things that hold so much data these days. Well, you can see here that Microsoft Business Premium has a tick in this box here, and that will allow you to remotely wipe company data from lost or stolen devices, and with a selective wipe. So you can either wipe all the data or you can wipe the whole device, basically. So Intune is the first thing that we had on our list, which was one of the products that we mentioned that was really worth kind of, you know, that really makes Microsoft 365 Business Premium worth the additional funds in order to purchase it. So Intune will not only let you remotely wipe the company data, it will manage these devices for you. It will allow you to remotely install software. So for example, on your employees' devices, you know, be they company, or you can also manage bring your own device scenario by managing certain applications on devices and requiring pins, for example, to get into different applications. So Intune allows you to manage devices, be they corporate or personal, and does that slightly differently in terms of policies that you set up. So Intune really is kind of that first step in terms of Microsoft 365 Business Premium, why we think it's totally worth it. So then one of the additional features then on Microsoft 365 Business Premium, information rights management. So we spoke quickly about this yesterday, and this means that you can control documents wherever they might be. So you can assign different statuses to documents, confidentiality labels, sensitivity labels, in fact, onto documents within Microsoft 365, and they will take those measures with them wherever they go. So even if they leave your Microsoft 365 environment, they will still be connected in a way to a cloud service that means that that document is still controlled, and you can still revoke access to that document. And you can say, you know, you don't want people to be able to forward things on, you don't want people to be able to kind of modify a document, etc. So you can put policies like that on those documents. Okay, so moving on to the next one that we were talking about in terms of why we think this is such a good deal. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Azure Active Directory Premium P1 license. Now this isn't clear on these tables here, but as part of your Microsoft 365 Business Premium subscription, you also get a license that is called, as I mentioned, Azure Active Directory Premium P1 license. Now, the Premium P1 license allows you to do some stuff in the background, and you might need to be a bit more technical to do this stuff. But there is something called Conditional Access, which is the way that Microsoft has to ensure security while giving your users a really good experience. So what does conditional access mean? Well, conditional access means that it's going to look at, so when someone tries to log in, tries to access some data, the system can look at their login and decide whether it's a risky login and whether it needs to be challenged further. So for example, you can say, okay, if a login is coming from a device that I don't know, that I haven't kind of registered under my Intune, which we talked about earlier, if it's not registered, then I will ask that person to put in a code that they get from their phone or respond to a notification on their phone, which would be a two-factor authentication scenario. So if they have a device that's been registered with Intune and it knows that everything in terms of software and everything is up to date on that device, it might then say, well, do you know what? I don't actually need to check again that this person is who they say they are, because they're on a company device, they've logged in, they've recently proved who they are. And so therefore, I'm going to let them sign in to this kind of online service or whatever without checking, or without checking further even. So conditional access gives you a really it gives you a way to control security to different apps, control the amount of security that you ask for when you give people access to different apps, but then also you can remove some of that additional checking if you believe that kind of certain parts of the equation have already been met. So it makes for a good user experience while also maintaining really good security. So Premium P1, Azure AD, that will give you the conditional access kind of setup, which you can then use to really manage your kind of permissions in terms of, and the way people log into different services. Okay, and the last one I'm going to talk to you about is the fact that if you have Microsoft 365 Business Premium, you're also licensed to connect to a Azure virtual desktop instance. So if your company decides that, for example, you want to set up also a virtual environment, so a virtual environment will allow you to connect in and have a standard desktop. So you might be on a computer that, you know, kind of is maybe your own personal one, or it's someone else's computer, and you may want to connect to a desktop that is kind of standardized in terms of your organization. Well, Azure Virtual Desktop allows you to do that. But Azure Virtual Desktop also requires that person who's connecting in to be licensed for those applications. Now, Azure Virtual Desktop also needs additional setup, and it also needs kind of additional costs in terms of the services that you're going to use to set up the infrastructure for Azure Virtual Desktop. But for those people connecting into Azure Virtual Desktop, a Microsoft 365 Business Premium license means that you can connect in to Azure Virtual Desktop without worrying about the additional kind of license that you might need for that service. Okay, there we go. So we talked about 3 of those. So Intune, manage your devices, set up your devices automatically, push applications out, for example, streamline your management of those devices, be they corporate or be they bring your own device type scenarios. Number 2, Azure Active Directory Premium P1, which will allow you to have access to the conditional access. In particular, it allows you to do a lot of other things as well, but the conditional access is really the key one there for me. And then the last one we mentioned was the included licensing for the Azure remote desktop connections, not for the whole kind of scenario. You do have to set that up kind of apart from this, but it means that you have that license to connect in should you go down that route. Okay, that's it from us for today. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will leave you as usual with our website. So there it is going across the bottom of the screen. So head on over to connect with us for sign up to the mailing list for more tips and tricks, and we'll let you know when we're doing these initiatives as well, when we're actually kind of, you know, sending out kind of these types of challenges, for example. So you'll be the first to be notified of those kinds of things. Yeah, we've got blogs and we've got guides and everything on there. So have a look and yeah, sign up to the mailing list to keep updated on what we're doing. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Much appreciated, and we'll hope to see you again tomorrow. Okay, bye.